fucking DJ Lethal, House of Pain, La Coca Nostra, Limp Bizkit, Soul Assassins. Bam.
Yes, the Archivest, y'all. Exclusively interviewing DJ Lethal.
What's up, the Archivest? In the house, he was dropping knowledge earlier. Let's see what's up.
And who is the producer and DJ extraordinaire, DJ Lethal?
His name is Lior Demont, and he's from Latvia. And here he is, in full effect.
And when you started in hip-hop culture, tell us about your beginning as a beatboxer, then becoming a DJ and producer.
Wow, alright. Well, basically how I got into hip-hop, I was born in Latvia. My pops was a musician. He wanted a better life for his kids, so we escaped. Latvia back in the day when it was still under Russian rule, you couldn't just up and leave. So we bailed out. We went to Italy, hopped on some train, and then at that time you could either go to, it was like Toronto or New York. So my parents chose New York. I grew up in New York and then New Jersey and Linden and Rahway, Jersey City. Just remember being in school. They had a school play or some shit, whatever it is. The assembly, like that, an assembly. And one of the acts in the assembly was like breakdancing and doing like these new things I never saw, and it was like to like Planet Rock or something, like back then. And I was like, man, what the hell is this, man? I love this, So I kind of was just like, wow. So I started, checking it out more. I mean, actually, I got into the electro kind of side, the breakdancing side, when it was like Egyptian Lover and shit like that, the breakdancing shit, Tour de France, and so whatever. And then we moved to LA, and I met this girl. Her name was Terry B, and she was a rapper, and she was signed to Ruthless Records. And I met her somehow, I don't know, some club in LA, whatever, and she, whatever, we hit it off, and I was like, man, check it out, I beatbox and this and that, whatever. So I was in her first video, which was called Murder, She Wrote. Terry B, check that out. You see me rocking a crazy gangster suit, chilling with Easy-E and Schoolie D's in the video, and Everlast, and the whole, it was just crazy to be. I was 16. I was just like, wow, this is what I want to do. I was like, wow. So I didn't hear from her for a while, and then one day out of the blue, she called me up and she was like, yo, my boyfriend is this dude named Everlast, and he's looking for a DJ. He's going on tour with Ice-T and a Rhyme Syndicate. And I was like, holy shit, dope. She was like, yo, he wants to meet you and hear you beatbox and shit. And I was like, damn, hell yeah, you know what I mean? So and I was okay at DJing. I didn't realize, I wasn't dope, super dope back then. I was just learning and shit. I was 16 and just had a turntable and the mixer, and I used to go over to my boy's house, who was a graffiti writer named Sir and Mech, and they were from a crew back in the day called WCA, West Coast Artists. And Sir, he was the one that had a DJ set up at the crib, and also DJ Rob One. He was one of my big influences, because we used to kick it all at this Russian park by my house, and we would bring a boombox and shit and fucking blast Fat Boys in the park and fucking throw it. There was a store called For Breakers Only, and it was a store for breakdance and shit. They had linoleum mats you could buy with graffiti on it. So I used to roll that shit up and bring it to the park with the boombox and just be blasting Fat Boys and shit. But anyways, I'm sidetracking, but so I met Everlast, and I met him. I remember the day I met him off of La Cienega and Sunset. I used to live right there, so I jacked my dad for a suit and fucking brought a couple dubs, and I rolled up the street, and there's a store called Pink Dot. It's still there. It's a little liquor store, delivery, whatever. So I met him in the parking lot, and yo, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm Everlast. What's up? I'm Lee. So we smoked a joint. I'm like, you want to smoke? He's like, yeah, let's smoke one. And then we smoked the joint, and then he's like, Samir, you beatbox. And I was like, whatever. I busted my fucking beatbox, and I was doing, boom, type shit. we just hit it off as homies. The next thing you know, I'm like 17 and on tour with the Rhyme Syndicate in Europe. Spin Masters, Donald D, fucking Evil E, Ice-T, man. It was, you know, it was just crazy. From that point on, I knew that I wanted to be in hip hop. Anything to do with hip hop, I knew my calling.
And tell us about the European tour, dropping out of high school and now living your dream. Share that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just now, the last couple of years, it's all soaking in, kind of, you know what I mean? It's just, I've been going so long and so hard that I haven't really had time for Lior Demont, not DJ Lethal, you know? It's like, I've been going for, I'm 38 now, so when I first started, I was 16, 17, you know, Jump Around came out, I was at like 18, 19. So, like, that's a long-ass story, homie. I don't think you have enough tape on that camera for that story. But, I don't know. It's been a long road, you know. I'm definitely happy and appreciating things a lot more these days. And now I'm getting to look back and see, you know, but I feel like I'm just getting started, actually, you know. I went from House of Pain to producing bands like Sugar Ray and all these different groups and Sepulturas and all just like all mixing up all kinds of music, you know. I didn't want to just be stuck in just being pigeonholed as being just a dude that does one thing, you know. So I started branching off into doing rock shit and you know, like I think the first blend of rock hip hop shit that I did, it's on the Judgment Night soundtrack. It's Helmet, House of Pain. That whole album had like mashups of hip hop and rock groups. And we did a track with Helmet. It was crazy. We just went to a studio in New York. I brought my SP 1200 with like a box of discs. We didn't know what the hell we were gonna do. I remember just, what do you do? First thing is pull up the 808, you know what I'm saying? I fucking drop the 808 on the fucking SP12 with the rock shit. And it was like, that's all I had to do is load up that damn 808 with a little fucking like anvil sound. And I was like, and it was like, I was like, wow, this is dope. Fucking rock shit with fucking 808 shit. And then at the end, we flipped it and I sampled the guitar. And we made a whole separate beat out of the whole shit and slowed it down, you know. But that's called Just Another Victim by Helmet, House of Pain. And then did House of Pain, you know, until 1996. In 1996, we did a tour for St. Patrick's Day in Florida. We had like 3 shows. The opening group was this band called Limp Bizkit. We didn't know, you know, you go to a concert sometimes, you don't know who the opening group is, whatever. You just show up and there's a band there. So I'm sitting in a dressing room and I'm like, I start hearing the shit and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I go out there and it's Limp Bizkit, you know, Fred and Wes. And like Wes was wearing some crazy ass like ponytails with like a mini skirt, like, you know, crazy. Everlast was like, what the fuck are these dudes doing this shit? But I was like, I saw something in them. I was like, wow, man. They got fucking beats, but they got the rock shit, and it was just cool. So I was like, yo, we just became friends. Really, we're only gonna do one show, and we was like, fuck it, come for the next couple of shows. We became friends, and then I was like, man, let's I want to sign you guys. Let's do a demo, you know. So, you know, long story short, there's a lot in between. Like they almost died and flipped the van on the way to Los Angeles to come to my house. They had a van with a trailer with all the gear and stuff. They just were driving. Whoever's driving fell asleep, flipped the van on the way to come to LA. Like they almost died. So like 4 days later, they show up at the crib, all in like casts and shit, and like all cut up with stitches and like. So I had like 10 dudes sleep in my living room, kind of banged out a couple things, and then one thing led to another, and, you know, Limp Bizkit happened. What can I say?
And major success from the record House of Pain, going multi-platinum, and producing Shamrocks and Shenanigans, Top of the Morning to Ya, the House of Pain anthem, and many more. Share the history on this.
Wow, I think the first beats I ever made the House of Pain record. The first beat I ever made was the House of Pain anthem. That was the first beat I ever made because my pops was a musician. So he always had gear, but I was such a bad kid that he wouldn't let me mess with his shit. And I would take his records and not put them back in the sleeves. And he was just like, you're a fuck up kind of, you know, like you can't even go in the studio yet, you know. So one day I remember he was like, I think it's time for you to grab the Roland W30 and get in the studio and do your thing. And I was like, wow. So I was like, all right. So I started going, you know, I mean, before that, my girlfriend at the time, this girl named Aida, her cousin was dating Muggs. So Muggs we used to come over to the crib playing the fucking Cypress Hill demos. And I was like, wow, I really need to be fucking making some beats. That shit is dope. So like, I was like, are you kidding me? Like Pigs and How I Could Just Kill a Man. Like hearing that shit like for the first time, like the demo, like as they were making it, he would just come over to the crib and be like, check this out. And I'd be like, what? Like I would almost want to cry and shit. Like damn. I was like, so I remember I got an S900. I couldn't even do anything. And I didn't even have a controller for it. All I could do was sample one loop and just hit it by the one button. And that's all I could do on it. But, you know, I had collected a gang of cool ass one loop things that were, you know, for make a beat back then. You know, there's still some beats that you just, all you need to do is loop that shit. It was dope, you know. So anyway, my pops let me finally get out the gear. It was a Roland W30 is what I first started on. And yeah, I made like the House of Pain. All the first shit on the first album, those were like my first beats I ever made.
And one of the rarest records that you own?
One of the rarest records that I own. That's pretty tough considering I have about 40,000 records. I think I have like a white label 45 of Purple Haze Jimi Hendrix. That's pretty rare right there. I mean, I got every Meters record, white label promo, every JB's record, white label promos. I mean, my shit goes deep. Like, I don't even, like, I'm still rediscovering stuff.
And working with Limp Bizkit, how has this gone for you? As for the awards that they have won, and records with multi-platinum recognition with over 35 million sold. Elaborate.
Wow, Limp Bizkit's success. I mean, that was it's hard. It was hard earned. I mean, we didn't just like come out of nowhere and all of a sudden we were huge. I mean, we started like on Warped Tour, you know, 15 guys on like a 1970s bus, you know, waking up trying to find a porta potty to fucking take a clean shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a mission. You know, we did like 5 tours just grinding it out, you know, like opening up for like Sepultura, Faith No More, stuff like that. And then the other thing I forgot to mention with the rock and the hip hop shit that led to Limp Bizkit was, as House of Pain, we brought out Rage Against the Machine on their first tour they ever did. First U.S. tour, they was opening up for House of Pain. Korn, first U.S. tour was opening up for House of Pain. So I had that rock and hip hop, like the devil and the angel, you know what I'm saying? They met right here. You know what I'm saying? They just went, hey, all right. Yeah, I mean, you know, if I could have predicted that, then I should be like a gazillionaire. And, you know, you can't predict that kind of shit, you know? You just try to make music that you enjoy and you would want to hear, and then that translates, and, you know, it connects with people in a way. And I mean, you know, it's I don't know, fuck.
And reuniting with House of Pain back in 2010. Tell us about the reformation and the tour on bringing it back to the classic times.
Definitely. I mean, well, how we kind of just started. We said, you know, we don't really want to mess with the legacy of House of Pain. You know, like it's not time yet for us to like go, okay, here's a new House of Pain. You know what I mean? It's like that it was what it was. So we were like, all right, that's kind of how La Coca Nostra kind of was. It was the original members of House of Pain, just adding Ill Bill and Slain, and adding, you know, 2 more monsters to it and making a whole new thing was what we wanted to do, you know. You know, we plan to make one last album, you know. It's in the works, it's in the talks. Right now, unfortunately, you know, I'm juggling between finishing the Limp Bizkit record, and House of Pain is touring right now, doing some shows. You know, I'm gonna pop in here and there when I can, but you know, I have to just commit to one at a time. It's like, you know, it's hard when I've been waiting like 10 years for House of Pain to come back, and then all of a sudden, you know, Limp Bizkit reforms, and it's like, you know, it's like, I mean, I guess it's a good problem to have, you know, it's just timing and stuff. So, but I'm gonna definitely pop in here and there and do some surprise wabams, and then we're gonna make one last album and really fucking do it up, and do the next year will be like the official 20 years, you know what I mean? Like the real 20.
And producing La Coca Nostra's album with tracks with Snoop Dogg, Be Real, Ill Bill, Sick Jackin', and working with Funk Dubious, Run DMC, Main Flow, Corrupt, Rob Zombie. Share about your musical gifts.
Damn. Man, you just reminded me. I forgot. Damn, I got some records. Man, I don't even, I mean, like I said, man, it's all kind of, it's just kind of like a blur in a way, you know? Like, it's just been on the road so long, and you start like just forgetting about life, and then one day life fucking comes with that fucking bat and fucking cracks you in the head, and it's like, oh shit, like, I've been a big ass, irresponsible, fucking no responsibilities, going wild, buck wild on tour ass motherfucker, you know what I mean? And, you know, a few years ago, my pops passed away, and life hit me in the head, and I had to wake up and, you know, take care of my moms, and just give up the crazy life that I was living to just do the right thing as a man, as a human, you know what I mean? You know, I'm still, it's crazy, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't really have your cake and eat it too, in a way, you know what I mean? I'm still hungry. If I'm not driving no fucking stupid Bentley or whatever, you know what I mean? I ain't fucking buying yachts and shit in Miami, you know what I mean? My shit's gear and records, you know? It's like, that's where my money is, you know?
And on to your solo album, What's the Word on this, featuring will.i.am, Be Real, Bun B, Method Man, Dilated Peoples, Chino XL, and the Alcoholics. Let us know.
Man, that album has been in the works for like 10 years, man. I'm like, maybe even more, you know. It's just on the road when you tour with cats, you know. I would always have like a Pro Tools system or something in the back of the bus to be able to record vocals, and, you know, I always wanted to make a producer album. And, you know, I just started collecting songs and stuff like that, and, you know, then I got a deal with Geffen, and then I started doing tracks with cats, and then all of a sudden, like, you would pay the dudes, and then the label wouldn't clear the song, and it'd be like, well, damn, like, I just got, like, did I get jacked, or what the hell just happened? So, you know, little by little, you gotta chip away at it, you know. I throw some out here and there, and I don't know, I might just give the shit out, you know what I mean? I might just give it away, because there's too many clearance issues and all that. So I might just, like, with the launch of Lethal Dose Records, just throw that out there, you know. I don't know who leaked it. A couple of my boys have it, I don't know. Somebody jacked my Wi-Fi and shit and fucking leaked it.
And everything that you've been part of, and some of the best memories to share, and all the pieces to your puzzle that you've been involved with.
Man, I don't know. All the pieces of the puzzle, you're going to have to Google that, because I can't remember, man. You're going to have to Google DJ Lethal. Damn. Sorry, man. That's a long one.
I had to lie.
That piece of puzzle, the puzzle is still being made. Pieces of puzzles are flying at me right now. But slowly, the big picture is coming together. I mean, like I said, I feel like I'm just getting started. You know what I mean? Like on me. You know, I've given to others in bands and stuff like that. You know, now I'm getting ready to just concentrate on Lethal Dose, DJ Lethal, and what I want to do.
And the biggest crowd you've ever rocked?
The biggest crowd I ever rocked was probably with Limp Bizkit at Woodstock in '99. I mean, that might have been like 300,000. I don't even know what the count was, but I mean, we're still doing stuff for like, you know, 75, 100,000 on a regular in Europe on festivals, and that shit is fucking so fun, man. The energy is crazy. Like, you just gotta check out a couple of things like YouTube, Rock M Ring, Rock M Park, Limp Bizkit, just to see how we get down. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
And your best hip hop memory you've been part of or contributed to?
Best hip hop memory I've contributed. I mean, it's definitely, you know, being part of House of Pain and being there, you know, when like Yo MTV Raps was, you know, around, and being on Yo MTV Raps when I was, first of all, like a white boy, you know, and the shit when it wasn't even cool for white boys to be in hip hop, you know what I mean? Like, we played the Apollo. House of Pain played the Apollo, but we played the Jump Around remix by Pete Rock. but whatever, we rocked that shit. We opened some doors, and Beastie Boys opened them up, and we went left with the shit and did the hardcore fucking street shit of that, you know?
And how do you feel about hip hop today and what needs to change?
I don't think anything needs to change. It's going to determine itself. Now it's in the hands of the people to determine what they want to hear. You know what I mean? Back in the day, it was like you got fed a certain amount of shit through labels, and that's where you were like, okay, well, this is the shit. They're their sign. They must, you know, have something going on. Now it's like you can throw up a YouTube video with a beat and put it on SoundCloud, and all of a sudden people will tell you what's dope. You know, so I don't know what, I mean, I don't necessarily think it needs to change. It's always evolving, you know what I mean? Hip-hop is like a sport, you know what I'm saying? There's new kids that come in all the time that can fucking slam. But you know, you got your Michael Jordans here and there, you know what I'm saying? That, you know, keep it on, you know, keep this certain element alive, you know what I mean? It's just learning, you know, going back, and it's up to people like us to put out the shit that we like, you know. It doesn't mean they have to like it, but let them know it's out there, you know, because some kids that are like 12, 13 now, they're growing up with the auto-tune shit, and they think that shit is normal. Like, they just think it's like just somebody, and, you know, whatever, using it here and there is whatever, it's cool. I get drunk, I fucking play with auto-tune. I roll up on a chick and put fucking auto-tune through my car system and be like, hey baby, you looking good in that Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? Try it one time. You'll be like, alright, auto-tune's kind of alright, you know? Rock that shit in the car when you roll up on the chickens. You'll be like, hey baby, you looking fine in that gray Mercedes. Shorty, you want to give me your number?
And can you share a little bit about us with La Coca Nostra before it became what it is today?
Yeah, well, La Coca Nostra kind of developed from this group I was doing called the Knockouts, which was my boy Slane. He's a dope MC, and Danny Boy brought Slane to me. He was like, yo, you gotta check this kid out. He's from Boston. He's fucking got the Irish shit. He's just fucking dope. And so I was like, yo, bring him around. So he came through. And I was like, dope. And then Danny Boy had another buddy of his, Big Left. He brought him through, and then this kid Optimist came around, and we just started making songs, you know, just whatever. I just load up an MPC, my beat. I got like thousands of beats in a fucking MPC just sitting there. So anytime I touch that shit, it's just like a new thing. I'm like, oh, I remember that. Let me just flip it, and you know. So I'm like a hoarder, you know. I'm like you with beats, with your Archivest. I'm a fucking sound hoarder. Like I have like, if I could actually take out what's on my hard drive and make it physical, I could probably fucking rebuild the Twin Towers with that shit. That's how fucking much It'll just be fucking records, mountains of records you can't even fucking see. You know what I mean? We started making some songs, and then Everlast came through one time. I was like, yo, yeah, I kind of like what you guys are doing, and let me hop on a joint. He hopped in a joint, and then, you know, like one day El Bill rolled through, and then we were all chilling at the studio, and they were all hanging out, and he was like, let's make a joint, and fucking, it turned into fucking La Coca Nostra, you know?
And you have anything to say to Canada?
Eh? You want to go fishing? I want to go fishing, eh? That's what I want to do, eh? Nah, for sure. Canada got that. Whoo! Damn, Canada got that. That leaf, the green leaf. Make it St. Patrick's Day is green. It's actually nice foresty pine, Canadian, Vancouver, Kush, eh?
And you got any shouts?
Shouts. Ah! That's it, dog. DJ Lethal, Limp Bizkit, House of Pain, La Coca Nostra, Lethal Dose Records. You know what I'm saying? Chillin' my man, the Archivest. Alright, one.
And shouts to Donnelly and DJ Lethal. And this is the Archivest, and you already know the name, y'all.
Yeah, man. You know what? You got to see the Archivist. DJ Lethal and the Archivist. And we got my man Cy in the Hizzy. See, that's how I do. I just take control of the camera. But people need to see this cat. It's the Archivist, yo. Lethal Dose, the Hoarder, and Cy. Yeah, you got to write down his other shit because it's fucking beyond. Aight.
Aight. And this is the Archivist, and you already know the name, y'all.